Back here on the clock on CBS Sports HQ, presented by Jeep. Here's a look at the last 5 selections. Reed Shepard, Stephon Castle, Ron Holland, Tajon Salon, and Donovan Clingan. The latest to go off the board. At number 8, we've got a trade. The Minnesota Timberwolves trading for the 8th pick. And this young man, Rob Dillingham, star potential. Right, Gary?
Definitely star potential, but there are some concerns there. He's obviously smaller than you would like a NBA guard to be, and though I think it was a mistake for him to be coming off of Kentucky's bench, if you talk to John Calipari, he would explain to you that there were reasons for that, and among them were his inability to guard anybody. So there are question marks with him, but the shot creation, shot making, he's an immensely talented offensive player with the ball in his hands. I understand why there's intrigue, but you know, if we look up in 5 years and somebody says, you mean the little guy who couldn't guard in college had trouble staying on the court and guarding in the NBA? That might not be the biggest surprise either, but I am intrigued by the offensive talent.
So Rob Dillingham not going to the Spurs, instead going to the Timberwolves. Your grade and the fit is what?
This is a really high-risk, high-reward play from Minnesota, because Dillingham may be the most dynamic player in the draft with the ball in his hands. He also may be the worst defender we're going to see in the first round. He was rated in the bottom 1% analytically of all college basketball defenders for the vast majority of the season. And then he fell down into a category I didn't know existed. It was in the 0 percentile. I didn't know that was a thing, but it was the case. He's 162 pounds. The things he can do with the basketball, you cannot teach. But if he doesn't get his body to an NBA standard, and if he doesn't show more competitiveness on the NBA defensive end of the floor, then the offense is going to have to be so good in order to compensate for those things. I will say this, though. Next to Anthony Edwards, who's one of the true developing stars in this game, it gives you a secondary playmaker with some gravity to help create some space around Edwards.
Avery, when he was asked who he models his game after, he said Kyrie Irving. He's a small guard. He does everything, facilitates, shoot. He can score the basketball. Do you agree with his own assessment?
Well, not quite at this point of his career.
Sure.
Maybe more like Patty Mills right now than he is Kyrie Irving. That's you talking about the NBA champion guy, obviously that lost in the finals, but let's pump the brakes for a minute. But I agree with Fink. He's got a long ways to go defensively. He's got to bulk up, get stronger. But I would say this is about the long-term future for Minnesota, because Mike Conley's not going to be there forever. Mike Conley is not a guy,
that's right,
that's going to really wow you offensively. So they can groom Dillingham behind Conley, let him learn the ropes. And now when you talk about Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards and Dillingham, if he continues to improve in the next year or two, then you have 3 guys that are serious offensive threats as you try to compete in this Western Conference.
All right. So Minnesota makes a trade here. They're going to get Rob Dillingham from Kentucky, and the Spurs will get a couple of picks later on in the NBA draft in years to come.